The Haunted House. Not a window was broken, and the paint wasn't peeling. Not a porch step sagged, yet there was a feeling that beyond the door and into the hall, this was the house of no one at all. No one who breathed, nor laughed, nor ate, nor said I love, nor said I hate. Yet something walked along the stair, something that was and wasn't there. And that is why weeds on the path grow high, and even the moon races fearfully by. For something walks along the stair, something that is and isn't there.
Winter moon. How thin and sharp is the moon tonight. How thin and sharp and ghostly white is the slim curved crook of the moon tonight.
Sir Roderick's Song. When the night wind howls and the chimney cowls, and the bat in the moonlight flies, and inky clouds like funeral shrouds sail over the midnight skies, when the footpads quail at the night bird's wail, and black dogs bay at the moon, then is the spectre's holiday, then is the ghost's high noon.
There was a young lady from Glitch who tried to turn into a witch, but she found that the most she could be was a ghost, so she threw herself into a ditch.
Ruth and Johnny, side by side, went out for an auto ride. They hit a bump, Ruth hit a tree, and John kept going, ruthlessly.
A skeleton once in Khartoum asked a spirit up into his room. They spent the whole night in the eeriest fight as to which should be frightened of whom.
It isn't the cough that carries you off. It's the coffin they carry you off in. The Bat. By day, the bat is cousin to the mouse. He likes the attic of an aging house. His fingers make a hat about his head. His pulse beat is so slow, we think him dead. He loops in crazy figures half the night among the trees that face the corner light. But when he brushes up against a screen, we are afraid of what our eyes have seen. For something is amiss or out of place when mice with wings can wear a human face.
The Velvet Ribbon, a story. Once there was a man who fell in love with a beautiful girl, and before the next full moon rose in the sky, they were wed. To please her husband, the young wife wore a different gown each night. Sometimes she was dressed in yellow. Other nights she wore red or blue or white. And she always wore a black velvet ribbon around her slender neck. Day and night she wore that ribbon, and it was not long before her husband's curiosity got the better of him. "Why do you always wear that ribbon?" he asked. She smiled a strange smile and said not a word. At last her husband got angry, and one night he shouted at his bride, "Take that ribbon off! I'm tired of looking at it." "You will be sorry if I do," she replied. "So I won't." Every morning at breakfast, the husband ordered his wife to remove the black velvet ribbon from around her neck. Every night at dinner, he told her the same thing. But every morning at breakfast and every night at dinner, all his wife would say was, "You will be sorry if I do, so I won't." A week passed. The husband no longer looked into his wife's eyes. He could only stare at that black velvet ribbon around her neck. One night, as his wife lay sleeping, he tiptoed to her sewing basket. He took out a pair of scissors. Quickly and quietly, careful not to awaken her, he bent over his wife's bed, and snip went the scissors, and the velvet ribbon fell to the floor, and snap, off came her head. It rolled over onto the floor in the moonlight, wailing tearfully, "I told you you'd be sorry."
The Erl King. Who rides so late in a night so wild? A father is riding with his child. He clasps the boy close in his arm. He holds him tightly. He keeps him warm. "My son, you are trembling. What do you fear?" "Look, father, the Erl King, he's coming near, with his crown and his shroud. Yes, that is he." "My son, it's only the mist you see." "Oh, lovely child, oh, come with me. Such games we'll play, so glad we'll be. Such flowers to pick, such sights to behold. My mother will make you clothes of gold." "Oh, father, my father, did you not hear the Erl King whispering in my ear?" "Lie still, my child, lie quietly. It's only the wind in the leaves of the tree." "Dear boy, if you will come away, my daughters will wait on you every day. They'll give you the prettiest presents to keep. They'll dance when you wake, and they'll sing you asleep." My father, do you not see the Erl King's pale daughters waiting for me?" My son, I see what you say. The willow is waving its branches of gray." "I love you, so come without fear or remorse, and if you're not willing, I'll take you by force." My father, tighten your hold. The Erl King has caught me. His fingers are cold." The father shudders. He spurs on his steed. He carries the child with desperate speed. He reaches the courtyard and looks down with dread. There, in his arms, the boy lies dead.
November night. Listen. With faint, dry sound, like steps of passing ghosts, the leaves, frost-crisped, break from the trees and fall.
Dust. Agatha Morley, all her life, grumbled at dust like a good wife. Dust on a table, dust on a chair, dust on a mantle she couldn't bear. She forgave faults in man and child, but a dusty shelf would set her wild. She bore with sin without protest, but dust thoughts preyed upon her rest. Agatha Morley is sleeping sound, 6 feet under the moldy ground. 6 feet under the earth she lies, with dust at her feet and dust in her eyes.
The Kilkenny Cats. There once was 2 cats at Kilkenny. Each thought there was 1 cat too many. So they quarreled and fit. They scratched and they bit, till excepting their nails and the tips of their tails, instead of 2 cats, there weren't any.
The Cradle That Rocked by Itself. A story. There was a raging storm at sea. The wind howled and lashed around many a snug house in many a little town up and down the coast of Maine. Many a ship at sea was in trouble that night, and some were never heard from again. "I hear a baby crying out there," said a woman in one warm kitchen in one of those little towns. But the rest of the family said it was the wind howling, or seals maybe, for a frightened baby seal often cries like a baby. The woman said no, she knew in her heart it was a baby. "How could it be?" said the others. Nobody went out to look. The next morning they found a cradle washed ashore out of some ship, and they took it up to the house, for it was a good cradle, and they used it for every baby that came along year after year. But there was one strange thing about it. Every time the wind blew a gale, the cradle would rock by itself. All by itself in the warm room, with the wind roaring outside, the cradle would rock just as if someone were sitting by it, gently rocking a child. This happened so often that the family got used to it. No harm ever came of it, and the baby liked it, so they just got used to it and didn't mind. Then one time the woman's sister came to visit. As they were setting the table for supper one night, the sister glanced into the next room. "Who is that woman rocking the cradle?" she said. "Woman? That's no woman. The cradle rocks by itself." "It is too a woman," said the sister. "She has long black hair, and her face is white and sad, and she's sitting there rocking the cradle and